What's going on, people? Welcome back to another episode of the Off the Top podcast. I am your host, Michael Jordan. No, I don't play basketball. Today, I'm joined with a guy that I've been following for years. I mean, years and years, and even throughout all of my different social media purges. And I purge often because I can't stand social media. So he's made the cut. I cut fitness influencers all the time simply because they do a lot of craziness. And I don't really want to do craziness. I just want to learn some stuff. So I started following when you were the movement coach, and now you've changed to coach Josh Evans.
Oh yeah.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going well, man. I mean, took the jump in maybe 2018 with my own business and the movement coach, and ran that for a couple of years. Built a pretty nice following. Appreciate you for all your support over the years. I'm
Yeah,
stoked that I was able to make the cut. It means must be doing something right. Uh,
yeah.
and from there, decided to shift over to a more personalized brand for myself, my lifestyle, shed a little more of my expertise instead of, you know, just the normal workout circuits that you get, from a lot of social media influencers or like advertising plugs. I wanted people to hear a lot about my mindset around, everything from training to nutrition to, the mindset of becoming a healthier person, recovery like meditation and sleep. And, I'm glad that I've been able to have the platform I have, come on platforms like your own. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on, man. Because I took a stab in the dark when I asked you, because obviously you never know.
Hey, you got
So
you listen, you gotta be able to take that jump though if you want to be successful, right? And go out there and manifest the opportunities that you want available to you. And if you don't ask, you don't get it. And like I said, I'm happy to be here.
yeah. So let's get into this. The Mace, right? The Mace workouts. I used to watch them all the time because when I first started my fitness journey, it was in my bedroom, just over there, and I had two kettlebells. I used to do kettlebells as well. Then I saw you with a mace. I was like, how do I get that to Barbados? And I'm not talking about a mace, like medieval weapons, right?
Mhm.
Although it could be used as a weapon.
Well, that's where they started, right? In India, they started as an ancient training tool so that warriors could get stronger with swords.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. I just saw a mace. I was like, I know this from movies. They kill people with these things. This
Mhm.
doesn't have spikes. So
Mhm.
how did where did you learn about that? How do you pick that up? How do you incorporate that?
Yeah, actually, great question. Really interesting story there. So, my background early in my career was in strength and conditioning, specifically in college athletics, right? So I worked with Division I football and lacrosse teams, soccer teams, basketball, pretty much any Division I athletic sport that you could imagine participating in. I helped coach. From there, I went into competitive powerlifting. In my master's degree, I really dove into powerlifting. That's what a lot of the people were researching in my program. So I dove headfirst into there. But I found that I was really stiff. I was strong as hell. I mean, I could pull anything off the floor. Uh, but I didn't have any mobility. I didn't have anything, right? Other than that strength. So when I started working at a corporate gym, probably the nicest luxury corporate gym in the world, Equinox, I was
I've heard
working,
of that.
yeah, I was working with general population people. So I wasn't working with athletes anywhere. I wasn't working with people who were, you know, gifted from God with this athletic ability, and all they had to do out there was put in the work and be able to express it. I was working with people who were, 9 to 5 CEOs, house moms who were sitting a lot, who were also stiff, and I didn't have a way to help them get past that. So I went to a good friend of mine who's still in Miami. His name's Kavan Daly at Daily Fitness on Instagram. He's a great guy. My mentor early in my career. He really introduced me into the world of what I guess we would call unconventional training, right? So that would be, body weight stuff like animal flow. That's really where I got my introduction into unconventional training. But then he picked up a steel club one day. He's like, "Oh, come do this steel club workout with me." And he's super fit, super athletic, but I always thought of myself to be kind of right where he is until I picked up this club with him. And he was looking smooth, controlled, like it was very fluid. And I went back and looked at the video that I filmed of us of myself, and I was like all janky, moving around like a robot. And like afterwards, I'm like, man, that jacked up my shoulders. He's like, well, it shouldn't. I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, you should have the ability to be able to do whatever I'm able to do. You're 10 years younger than I am, for sake. That's when I really opened my eyes. Like, okay, great. Like absolute strength is one thing, but positional strength is a whole nother thing, right? Having the ability to move in certain positions with strength and grace and dynamic ability is a whole nother animal. So I started out with Animal Flow and a little bit of the Steel Club, and then I saw him pick up the Mace, and I saw people, on social media, just like yourself, like Eric Melland, ESIC, used to be with On Academy, now owns his own company, Viking Ninja, and some other people. I was like, man, that tool looks badass. So I picked up one of those, and same thing happened, right? I started swinging around that. It's just a longer level dumbbell or kettlebell, essentially, right? That's all a steel mace is.
Yeah.
And same thing as, man, I'm real rusty with this. This doesn't feel good. It's not like I'm just picking up a bar like a deadlift. Once I started playing around with it more, I was like, man, I fell in love with it, right? It's like so versatile of a tool. I mean, you know that better than anybody now, right?
I've been watching for a long time.
Just how much you can do with it, and how exposed moving with the steel mace can make you, right? Like I was able to learn so much about my deficiencies, just as much as I was able to like pour into my ego and say, yeah, you can still, be strong as fuck. But I wasn't getting that positional strength that I knew I needed to be, the athletic person that I wanted to be. So that's my journey with steel mace.
I get that, because I was super skinny, 6'6", 125 pounds, and I was just obsessed.
125. That's
I was literally blowing in the wind. I mean, like the wind, it was nuts. And I'm from the 90s, so we wear super big clothes.
Yeah.
So I literally used to blow in the wind, and I was just obsessed with getting bigger and stronger and bigger and stronger and bigger and stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And I got like 2 years into my actual fitness journey, because I was pushing it off for a long time. I got like really good genes. So my grandfather and my father are stupid strong. So I was strong for my size, but overall not too strong.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's only like after like 2 years or so into my fitness journey where I was like, okay, I can pull 300 in a deadlift.
At 6'6", that's good.
I can do, 245 squat. But the issue was always my hip and my ankles.
Mm-hmm.
That was always my issue. And I got to a point where I actually jacked up my knees completely. Like my knees were shot completely. And it's only now, after like a year and a half, 2 years afterwards, I can crouch properly. I got the ankle mobility, I got the hip mobility, and that's from like kettlebells and swings, and all. Like my shoulders, I have a 8-pound mallet.
That was great.
That I kind of use like the mace.
Okay.
So I kind of swing it around sometimes, and
it's
not easy. It hurts. It's not easy. So I get the mobility part. It's very, very important. A lot of people don't like. Do you ever go to the gym? Obviously, you're a coach, but do you ever go to the gym? You see somebody just doing something completely off, and you're like, I want to help you, but don't want to be that guy.
Sometimes for sure, but I'm more than willing to. It depends on the person, right? If I know that they're not very perceptive towards feedback, then I have to kind of take that for what it is. Like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, right? So if I go up and I offer you some advice on something that I feel I'm much more qualified than you are to talk about, and you're willing to accept that advice, great. Being on South Beach where I was, that wasn't, always the case early in my career. A lot of meatheads there, and type of training I do is not very meathead-ish, right? Some meathead.
No, it's not.
Some, I still lift heavy. I still use dumbbells. I still use, heavy weight, but it's a very unconventional way in which I think about training. And that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. They didn't necessarily want to hear that, like, hey, maybe you should get off that foam roller for 30 minutes and actually move your body in order to get better. maybe you shouldn't be doing like lat pull down behind your neck because your head's already forward.
I don't do it, man.
But for the people that want some advice, like I'm always more than willing to help them because I knew early on in my career I needed a lot of help, right? Like I started training when I was 13, and I 1000% wouldn't be where I am today in my own fitness journey if it weren't for the guy who was overseeing the high school gym that I was at. His name's Thomas here, and I really, you know, give him a lot of credit for getting me started in my career inside of a gym was because I saw the value of getting coached one-on-one, right? I saw the value of getting quality feedback from people, even though obviously my expertise is different than, where he was at. We were just like pushing around a lot of weight back then, but the concepts still say the same, right? I was thirsty for quality help, right? Thirsty for someone to just give me that push, give me that guidance I needed. And if he wasn't there, I can guarantee you I wouldn't have been able to be where I am today, helping so many people with my own podcast, Sweat It Out, and with my coaching business. Helping
13
people
is
in
young.
business. 13 is young, yeah.
What made you start at 13? That's young.
I was a chubby fat kid, man. I was, I'm not 6'6" like you. I'm 5'10" and 5'10.5" on a good day. And I got up to 230 pounds in high school. I come from a very rural, blue collar area of upstate New York. A lot of construction workers, a lot of people that drink heavy and eat fried food, and nutrition is never on the forefront of anyone's mind up there. So I gained a lot of weight in high school, and because of that, I got picked on a lot. Bullied to the point where like I didn't want to be around anymore. It was like bad times, and sports was my one outlet. I wasn't the fastest kid, I wasn't the strongest kid, I wasn't the most athletic, and nobody was going to outwork me. So that was always the outlet I had. I knew no matter what, I was going to succeed in that because I didn't have all the physical attributes, but I was going to work harder than anybody. The gym became another one of those outlets for me, right? Another place where I could go where I was good at something, right? But there was always still a little bit of room for improvement, which like I desperately need in my life. I'm one of those people that, no matter how successful I am, I'm always looking at the stuff I'm doing poorly at and focusing on that. And
get better.
Training gave me a way to understand incremental improvement, right? I didn't need to hit a home run every time. I could hit singles and still produce runs, right? I could, bump up the weight 5 pounds, maybe not 30 pounds, and I would still, see that as progress. And that really catapulted me into, having a successful career of fitness and, a healthy life.
I always say about fitness is one of the few areas that the work that you put in is directly proportional to the result that you get out. One of the very few areas, because there's a lot of areas that you can work super hard and it just doesn't happen for you. But if you stay consistent with working out and fitness and training, that result is going to be equal to what you put in. I got a lot of that. I used to get a lot of that throughout the years, but I never stuck to anything. So I played basketball, badminton, table tennis, cricket. I didn't mess with soccer, as you would call it. No. But I would lose or get beat, and then I was like, nah, can't do it. And I would go and I would play and train and come back and beat that person. Like, it's good now. So I get that. The gym was also somewhere that I put a lot of my emotions and stuff into. So like, if I can't process something, I go work out. If I'm super angry, I go work out. If I'm stressed, I go work out. If I need to figure out something, I go work out. So it's over time, it just became a part of me where in order for me to function, like in the rest of my day, I need fitness to some degree. I need to move to some degree. So why is that? Because obviously you told us about your trajectory to where you are now. But what was the defining factor to say, you know what, I want to help people. Like I want people to feel what I feel when I do this.
I mean, it started a great question. It started early in high school, right? When I was getting picked on. I was miserable, right? I didn't want to be around anybody. I didn't feel good about myself. I didn't feel good about the environment I was in, even though it wasn't a bad place to be. Just my scenario, right, with the people that I was surrounding myself with, right, weren't uplifting me, right? They weren't. They were motivating me for sure, right? I don't think I've ever been as motivated as I was back then because I wanted to get out of there because of the experience, right? Um, and I felt terrible about myself, right? The decisions I was making in order to get to where I thought I wanted to go, right, at that current time. And I didn't want people to feel like that, right? I mean, in the moment, I thought like, I wanted to train athletes because in my head, like, and that's, kind of what kicked me off into strength and conditioning was I thought, oh, if I train athletes and I'm fit and I, win an American football in college, they have these like, basically like consolatory games, like what we call bowl games, right? They're like the lower version of like a championship game, right? For the
Okay.
teams that don't go to the championship. For me, like, oh, if I go to one of those games and you know, and I'm the head strength coach and I win a bowl ring, then I can show everybody that I'm successful and that I'm doing all these things. And now that I'm like really into my career, I realized that all I really wanted to do was to help people not have to experience the same mental anguish, the same mental beating that I was giving myself because of my health, right? Because of how I felt about my body, because of how I felt about my work ethic, right? Even though I was pushing myself, I was doing those things, I didn't feel great about what I was doing. It wasn't really making a change. Doing all of this work, right? You were kind of talking about it with sports with you, right? Doing all of this work and then I hit a barrier and I give up, right? And I didn't feel good about that. And I wanted to help people not have that mental anguish, right? That mental beating that I was giving myself. Now, kind of looking back on it later in my career, being 12 years into training people and coaching people, it's really allowing people to understand that they're in they have much greater control over their actions and their destiny, right, than they give themselves credit for. And that was something that I wasn't doing early in my life and something that I try to really focus on now for myself and for my clients is that, the actions that you take are completely in your control, right? You might not have control over how those actions came to be, right? The environment that, you know, dictate those actions, but you are fully in control of those actions.
Dichotomy of control.
Right. Right.
So you control what you can control, and everything else can't get beat up about it.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
hard though. It's not easy.
It's honestly one of the most difficult things I think you can do in life is learn how to transform uh, physical barriers that really are manifested mentally into something that's actually motivating and sustainable for you long term, right? It's uh, what I call shifting limiting beliefs, right? Everyone's heard of limiting beliefs, but transitioning those limiting beliefs into what I call liberating truths, right? And if you
Hmm.
can shift those limiting beliefs, those barriers that we put inside between our ears that, manifest themselves in many different ways physically, but really it starts between your ears. If we can shift those from something that hinder our ability to even get started into something that motivates us to get started and continue on the path, right? Then you're really onto something. Then you're really onto something that allows you to make the type of progress and achieve the type of goals that are worth achieving.
It's funny how I didn't mention at all that my podcast is about mindsets, and here we are talking about mindsets
Mm-hmm.
because it starts here. Like this tells everything else about you what to do. So as that's great. January 1st, 2017, I looked in the mirror. I was like, I'm so sick of what I see here, and it's not just physically. I'm looking at a person that, gives up on everything, runs away. I'm sick of this. And I started push-ups and leg raises. That's the legit how I started working out. Push-ups, leg raises. And listen, to this day, I still suck at push-ups. But it's it's just about the start, because even back then, you know, I always had a personality. So it's not like I had an issue with people around me or whatever. It's just I just got tired of not being able to follow through with anything, even though I and everybody else around me knows that I have the potential to follow through. So I was like, I have to pick something and stick to it, because I was unemployed at the time too. So I had to pick something and stick to it. So I was like, why not work on my body? Because this is something that I can work on myself. I don't need outside input per se. I don't need anybody else to fix this. I have to prove to myself that I can follow through on making this the best vessel that I could possibly have. And then I just went down the rabbit hole of binge watching YouTube videos, Instagram. And that kind of segues me into my next talking point is when I look at over the years I've been looking at fitness influencers, and they always do something nuts. They're like bench pressing women or doing backflips and like throwing around ridiculous weight and all these different things. So how is it for somebody who is just like, nah, I just want to help. I just want to be real, because what I see from you is more realistic than some of that other stuff that I see. And obviously those things get numbers, right? Those things get numbers. But for somebody who is true to their path, how has that affected you when you look out and you see all of this wildness?
Yeah, I mean, it's not always easy. You know what I mean? Social media is a devil in itself, right?
I agree.
I feel very blessed that I use social media for my business, right? It's part of how I generate leads for my online coaching. So I kind of understand, and I've been posting for, going on 6 or 7 years now. So for me, like, I've kind of gone through all of those good and bad times you can have. Like, I've seen my numbers raise. I've lost, 2,000 followers at one point. I've gained 5,000 before. I've had, a lot of likes, a lot of saves, a lot of shares, a lot of comments. And then I've had the opposite, right? I've been like posting. I was talking to my girlfriend about this yesterday, and I'm like, I had this really cool post about, not tracking your meals on these ads, right? It's like such a waste of time. And I got
I
like,
actually have that as a because I wanted to talk about that too, because when I was
great.
scrolling through just for some last minute research, I saw it. I was like,
Yeah, we can definitely talk about that for sure. But like, I thought that post was going to be very popular, and it's probably been one of my worst posts, But it's such an important thing to think about when it comes to nutrition. Everyone thinks that they need to track their meals. Everyone thinks that they need to count their calories, and they don't. And I was like, oh, I'm going to kill it with this post. It's going to do well. Like, it's going to help. And it tanked. And I was like, what the fuck? Is going on? And then I realized, like, well, people like catchy stuff, and this is the substance, and that's kind of how it is. So the way that I kind of think about it is like, even if only 20, let's say even 20 people saw my post, right? If 10 of those people actually took the time to pay attention to what I was saying and saw the graphics and it resonated with them, well, that's 10 more people I just set off in the right direction, right? I don't have anything against the fitness. I love the air quotes with that, fitness influencers. I don't have any problem if you want to hawk, fit tea or whatever. Like, you can run your business how you want to run it. I am not going to lie to people, right? I'm not going to tell them that a waist trainer is going to help them lose weight. I'm not going to tell them that doing high intensity training is the only way that you're going to get help, get the goals that you want. I'm not even going to tell you that my programs are the only way that you're going to get these results, because it's not true, right? But if you're a good fit for what I do, I can promise you I have the blueprint to help you get to where you want to go. And I have the testimonials to back it up, and I have the research to back it up. The only thing I can do is try to put out the information that I find or that I believe is going to help the people in my community, right? People like yourself that have been following me for a long time. And as long as I'm doing my best, the best way I know how to help people in the long run, then the numbers I couldn't care about, right? Because I'm looking to change people's lives, not give them another cool thing to laugh about for 5 seconds, right? Sure, sometimes I will because like I want to be funny and I think I'm funny. I mean, again, my girlfriend might not think I'm funny, but I think that through humor and through, some of these more interesting posts, maybe you draw some more eyes. Like if I was smashing, I've seen people like smash watermelons off their friends' abs while they're doing sit-ups and stuff, which is stupid, but draws a lot of people to your page, right? So okay, cool. If you're gonna draw a lot of people to your page with that, I don't have a problem with it. What are you doing with that following? That's really where I tend to get frustrated with the fitness industry from a social media standpoint. But again, I also realize that without social media, I would only be reaching maybe the 35 people that I train in the gym instead of the 19,000 people that I'm able to reach by having my Instagram.
Yeah, it's an evil double-edged sword, man.
It is. And from a consumer standpoint, right, for someone like yourself, like the best piece of advice I could give you is, or anyone that might be listening that's in the shoes of that person who is visually attracted to those types of posts compared to posts of substances, do your research, right? Do the things that you were talking about, right? Find a bunch of different coaches on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, uh, in the gym, wherever it is you might be able to get that information, and do your research, right? People in America at least love cars, right? They will research a car for 6 months before they buy it. They will know the horsepower, the acceleration, every little gadget inside of it, down to like what type of lug nuts they use to bolt the engine. But when it comes to their health, right? They go with the person that has an 8-pack abs, right? The person that, yeah, she's got a big butt or he's got broad shoulders. I want that. Okay, great. But that person, you don't know how that person, they might have good genetics. They might be taking steroids. They might be, they might have worked really hard. They might really know what you're talking about, but it's a toss up if the only thing you're going off of is like the attainable goal that you want to achieve, right? I'm not a 6'6" left tackle in the NFL, but I know how to train them, right? Because I understand the principles that go into what they need to do their job, right? Like you as a podcaster, I am a podcaster, but even if I wasn't, I would understand what it takes to be a podcaster, sitting at your desk a lot, so what does it actually take in order to make sure that you can be an optimal human being as well as be a good podcaster, right? Or be a left tackle, or be a CEO, or be a house mom or house dad, whatever it may be, right? Just because I look a certain way, just because I do the things I do a certain way, doesn't necessarily mean they're right for you, right? Or right for somebody else. So do your research, find a quality coach, right? Who's going to tell you what you need to know, right? Give you what you need while also giving you a little bit of what you want so that you can go out there and, be happy about doing the things while also accomplishing what you need to accomplish.
Yeah, I started watching everybody. I used to follow the super, those perfect looking people. I used to follow them. I was like, I want to look like that. But then I started to train. I was like, I don't see this happening. Like our genetics aren't the same.
Well,
my limbs are super long. Their
even
limbs aren't that long.
right. But you can even take it for this, right? Like I'll tell you a little industry secret. A lot of us bulk shoot our content, right? Like I shoot most of my content for the month in like 1 or 2 days, right? So for those 1 or 2 days, like you don't think that I'm going to try to look the best I possibly can, right? If I do a photo shoot, which I do like, once every 3 or 4 months, you don't think that like for those 3 months, I'm getting ready for that 1 3-hour period of time, like so that I can look as best as I possibly can? Of course. And so is every other fitness trainer who's on social media. So when you look at those photos or you look at those videos, like I can almost guarantee you at least half of them, right, are probably shot at another time when they were looking at their best and they were doing their moves perfectly, and they had everything dialed in, but it's not always like that, right? And if you try to mirror where you think you need to be based on, like, the way I put it is, you can't base your chapter 1 off of someone else's chapter 10, right? You're going to set yourself up for failure that way. You have to focus on your chapter 1 and getting to chapter 2, right? Losing that first 5 pounds, like getting to the gym 4 days a week for the first 2 or 3 weeks, and then
Consistency.
focus on the other things.
Yeah, but it's hard. It's hard as a consumer, because when you're looking at these things, most of them, they look great. And obviously, if you're looking for a coach or guidance, you're not gonna pick the dude who might have all the knowledge in the world, but you're not really gonna pick the dude if he has this knowledge and he's fat.
Yeah.
Especially for fitness, you're not gonna pick him, even if he knows exactly what you need to do to get where you're going.
Right.
You're still gonna choose the person that kind of looks like they have this knowledge.
Right.
And a lot of the times it's just like, you got to be careful with
Right.
the information that you consume. Waist trainers, the flat tummy tees, the electro ab shocker thing.
Man, I lived in Miami for 8 years. I've seen all of it. I had a person actually right before I left Miami who I wanted to get into my online coaching program. And I was like, oh, well, you want to lose 10 pounds? Like, here are all these people that have lost 10 pounds with one of my programs. She's like, yeah, I'm just going to go get lipo. I'm like, but that doesn't solve the issue, which
It
made
really
you put
doesn't.
on the weight. You're putting a
You're gonna put it back
Band-Aid.
on.
Yeah, you're going to put it back on and more and more.
Yeah.
You're not taking care of the problem. Oh, but it's easier. Like, okay. And who said that the things that you should want in life should be easy for you? Right? But people want immediate gratification, right?
They want that shortcut.
Right. I could care if you came out to me and you went, oh man, you look great today. I'd be like, oh, thanks, right? But if you came out to me and you went, man, I see you working hard every day, you're gonna see my blood start to get pumping, right? Because like I couldn't, yeah, our aesthetics are important to me, sure. But
Hey,
my work ethic is how I define myself, right? Again, I told you earlier, like I will outwork 95% of the people I come in contact with, right? It's just how my mindset works. And I value that, right? People acknowledging that they see me out there putting in the effort way more than I do about the results, right? Because I know that the results will come if I put in the effort. So I want to be congratulated on the shit that I know is going to move the needle, right? Not the like the piece of cake at the end of the race. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. When I really started to, I remember that every Christmas period, because I work in retail, we have to end up working like 12 hours a day. So I'd get home and I'd be in the gym, because my gym is 24 hours. I'd be in the gym at like 11:30 at night. And people was like, are you nuts? Because I get up at 5:30 too.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So are you nuts? I was like, well, I have to get it in. If I don't get it in, it harkens back to when I was just kind of not doing anything. And then it just doesn't feel right. It feels like I'm cheating on myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to get it in. And then after a while, people was like, okay, I'm really starting to see this work that you put in. I was like,
right. Right.
Yeah.
But
And it's more than you look good. It's like I can see that the work that you're putting in is starting to pay off.
and the key point that I picked up right there is that you made the time, right? You didn't try to find time to work out.
No,
Because if you were trying to find time to work out, you would have never gone to the gym. You would have never gone to the gym at 11:30 p.m., right? You made the time to put in that work, right? You made the time to invest into your health. And that's where a lot of people slip up as well, right? Is that they're looking for all this extra time. They're looking for that 25th hour in the day that's never coming, right?
It's not there.
Right? You and I have the same 24 hours in the day. If you take advantage of that and you make the time to succeed and I don't, right? Then that's on me. That's not on you, right? You're not doing anything different than what I'm capable of doing. I'm choosing not to do it. I'm choosing to allocate my time in a way that's not going to benefit me appropriately.
Yep, that sounds about right. All right, one last question before we wind down.
Do it.
If you weren't doing what you're doing now, coaching, fitness, etc., what are 3 things you would do?
Want to do, or what would I probably be doing?
3 things. Probably 3 things.
All right. if I wasn't in fitness, I would probably be like sitting at a desk job working for someone like JP Morgan, right? I would always love math and science. So if I didn't take the science route, I probably would have gone the numbers route and probably be like 300 pounds to be honest. um, I definitely want to be uh, I want to learn how to surf. I mean, I live in Puerto Rico now, so that's something I definitely I would love to be like a pro surfer. I thought that that would be really cool, like riding those monster waves. Like I always thought that that was super dope.
Uh,
Um, what's another thing I would want to do? Um, what's something cool that I like? Man, this is a good question. Uh, I would like to. I'd like to be one of those people that like travels around to like very uh, uh, unknown places and documents them. I always like I love to be outdoors. I love to hike and like find. I like to find the local spots that no one really knows about, not even like a lot of the locals, and then like those are my places. I don't like very touristy locations. You'll never see me at a resort like sitting on a beach drinking a mai tai. So I would love to do that. Like be like an explorer. I think that would be really
any last questions for me before we wrap it up and you tell the people where they can find you and you know.
No, I just, Michael, I just want to say thank you, for having me on and allowing me to share my story on your platform, on your podcast. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I've been looking in Barbados for like fitness people to speak to, but everybody's like afraid of a camera or they just kind of shrug you off. I'm like, well, fine, but I'm gonna find somebody,
Right.
and you've been reaching out over the years just to like, and it's strange that I follow so many different people, and they're not required to, but you're like probably the only fitness person that has reached out like, hey, I see you follow me. Are you interested in fitness and how's that going? I'm like, huh. Well, this is, yeah, I'm good. My fitness is, we had a conversation the other day. My fitness is kind of stalling, due to all the pressures of, our new world life,
For sure. For
And I
sure.
was like, I gotta talk to him. I gotta talk to him. If he reaches out, and it's not like reach out to just be like, hey, I got something that I can sell you.
Right.
Buy this. It's like, how are you doing? Like, how is that going? I'm like, well, it's kind of going,
Mm.
it felt great. I'm not gonna lie to you, it felt great.
And I appreciate that, and it means a lot to me when I get feedback like that because I truly believe you live your life in one of two ways, right? You live your life by taking things from others, right, and expecting other people to do things from you, or you live your life uh, down a path of service, right? Servicing others so that they can benefit, right? Because if I can make you better, right, or just ask you how things are going, right, and give you a sense like someone does care, even regardless of if you buy my program or not, you're investing in me because you're supporting me through my channels, right? Well, then how can I be of service to you, right? If I never ask you what you actually need help with, right? If I don't actually find out a little bit about you. So it's really important for me to connect with my community because if I don't connect with them, then how can I help? How can I help better them? How can I find out, what type of content you want, what type of information you desire or seek or need, right? And what are some of the things individually that are going on in your life, right? That differ from someone else's that are challenges for you that you want to overcome. And if I can answer those questions for anybody that may be listening that wants to reach out to me, feel free. We had that conversation the other day through Instagram. I want to be there to help you with whatever it may be that you're struggling with when it comes to your fitness, nutrition, mindset, training, recovery, and sleep. I'm here to help you and in any way possible that you may need it.
Yeah, tell them where you can find you, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, great. And I appreciate it. Pretty simple. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. at Coach Josh Evans. If you want to listen to my podcast, I have with my co-host Anthony Mendez. You can find us anywhere podcasts are listened to, as well as YouTube. The handle is sweatitout.podcast for social media, and you just type in Sweat It Out Podcast for YouTube, and you'll find it.
Yeah, I'll put it in the description
Awesome.
of the
Really
video, podcast, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is great. Thank you very much for coming on. You know, I appreciate that. And for you guys, you know where to find me at Mike Off the Top everywhere, Off the Top Media on social, on YouTube. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Go follow Josh. You know, great guy. Listen to the podcast. I listened to some clips. I was like, I like this. You know, I like this. So yeah, do all the fun stuff. You know, if you listen to me on Apple Podcasts, leave a review. Same for Sweat It Out Podcast. Leave a review. It really helps grow and reach more people. And you know, we all just trying to help in our own unique ways. You know, so yeah, this has been another episode of the Off the Top Podcast. I am your host, Michael Jordan. No, I don't play basketball, and I'm out.